you want to work your first corporate job? Well, I got you, sis. I'm coming here with all the tips, whether it's your resumes, your interviews, or even your job search. We're going to talk about that today so you can get that coin, secure that corporate bag, those benefits, that PTO, all of those things. Hey guys, it's Joy here, and today we are talking about how to get your first corporate job, whether that's out of college or you're switching careers. I actually currently work at Google as a product marketing manager, and I got my job right out of college. I actually interned at the company first, and then when I finished my internship, did a few interviews, and now I've been working here for over a year. So I'm gonna give you my tips on how to get your first corporate job in your 20s, boo-boo. Let me know in the comments down below if you are looking to switch from your current job or you're looking for your very first job in corporate America. Let me know in the comments below. The first things first is to do a little bit of a self-evaluation. So first thing is to look at your skills and what you're bringing to the table. So do you have a degree? If not, do you have any certificates? And what types of skills are you going to be bringing to the job market? Because these are all things you're going to need to articulate throughout the whole process of interviews. With that being said, you also want to think about the things that you want, because the job search is there's so many jobs out there right now, so you really have to narrow down the things that you want. For example, is there a location you'd rather be in? Do you want to work remotely? Are there certain benefits that you're looking for? Like what do you want out of this job? And speaking of what you want, you also want to have a good idea of how much you want to get paid for the job. We'll talk a little bit more about how to find out how much a certain job gets paid a little bit later in the video. Now that you've done your self-eval, let's talk about the job search. So the job search, I feel like, is so exhausting because there's so many jobs out there. So I'm gonna give you some tips to make it easier on yourself. The first thing I would do is just make a list of preliminary companies that you're interested in, and then a list of preliminary roles that you're interested in, because sometimes you might have a company that you think is great, but they might not even have your role open, or you have a role that you think you want to have, but then you find a great company and you find other roles that will be better for your skill set. So I'll just start with a preliminary list of both to get you started. Next, take things to LinkedIn. I honestly think LinkedIn is just the easiest way to find jobs and also get notified about new jobs. So what you want to do is go to your LinkedIn account and actually use the jobs feature, or you can use the app for LinkedIn, and you just search for the position you're looking for. So in my case, I would be looking for a product marketing manager, and you can look up all of the companies that come up, and then you can actually add a location and set an alert so that anytime a job gets posted that matches this search, you get an email and you get notified so you can apply as quickly as possible. Once you get an idea of the jobs that are out there, you definitely want to research the companies that you're applying to. One, so you can know about them during the interview, but two, so you can see if there's any red flags. Because of the Great Resignation and all these people quitting their jobs, you do have a little bit of leverage at making sure you go to a company that is a good fit for you and that is in a toxic environment. So here's some of the things you can look at to discern that. You can go on Glassdoor, which is a huge website directory of companies and the types of jobs they offer and reviews on those companies. They also have salary comparisons where you can see the salary range that people make at that company for a certain position in specific cities. So that's what I was talking about earlier, to figure out what types of compensation you want. Know that ahead of time so that if it comes down to negotiation, you do have a sense of a number in your head. Outside of Glassdoor, there are other ways that you can learn about a company. One is just general networking. So you can reach out to people who might have went to your university who now work at that company. If you don't have any of those types of connections, you can do a quick LinkedIn search and reach out to those people in a cold email and see if they're open to a coffee chat. And lastly, you can also just go on social media and look at YouTube videos and TikToks. There's so many career TikTokers right now that offer insights into different companies that work at, whether it's serious or from a comedic standpoint, that can help you get a sense of what it's like to work at that company. And influencers, you can usually just comment on their videos and ask questions to them as well. When you're having these conversations with people, I would always ask questions about what their interview was like so you can start preparing for your interview, and keep a doc where you are writing down the things that they're saying about their interviews, about what it's like to work there, so you can keep all of that organized in one place if you do get further along in the process with that company. So now that you've done all your research and you know where you're gonna apply, let's get into your actual applications. My number one tip is to make sure the job posting has not been listed for more than 2 weeks maybe, because you want to be one of the first people to apply. But nowadays a job posting might be up a little bit longer because people aren't applying for it or they haven't found the right candidate. But the key point I'm trying to make is apply as early as possible. As soon as you get that alert from LinkedIn, go apply and have all your materials together. I think the most important part of your application is your resume, and I do have a full video on how to have the best resume possible, so I'm gonna have that linked so you can go watch that and learn all about resumes. My number one resume tip though, before you go watch that video, is to make sure you're looking at the job description and actually print it out and actually highlight some of the things that those people are looking for, and make sure you have those keywords on your resume. A lot of resumes are just pushed through an automatic search that scours your resume for things that match the job description for initial screening. And even if an actual person is screening your resume, having those keywords on your resume will trigger that you are a good match for the job. If you want more resume tips, go watch that video that I have linked. The last thing I wanted to talk about was your interview. So let's talk about interviews for your first corporate job. The first thing you should do is just prepare. Make sure you have all the docs that you compiled when you're doing your company research, when you're asking different people about their experience at the company, and obviously their interview questions that they said they had, so you can prepare for that. A lot of interviews are virtual nowadays, so make sure you actually practice giving your answers, or even write out what your answers are going to be so you can reference it during the interview. Other things to make sure you are doing in an environment where you are interviewing virtually is have your outfit set out. Also make sure your Wi-Fi connection is really strong. You're in a place that has no distractions or background noise. Your camera quality is great, your sound is great, and you log onto the interview area at least 5 minutes before to make sure you don't have any technical difficulties. After your interview, make sure that you send a thank you email to the person who interviewed you, as well as your recruiter, to let them know how the interview went, to just make sure you're staying in the loop and showing that you're grateful for the opportunity for the job. Okay, we've gone through the full process. I think these are my top tips. Outside of the process, you can also just figure out other ways to get your foot in the door, whether it is professional conferences. For example, in the tech industry, for Black and brown people, there is a conference called Afrotech, so you could go to one of these conferences and meet recruiters and learn about the opportunities they're sourcing for specifically. You can also do certain entry-level positions like internships or apprenticeships, or even just a job that's equivalent to one you're in now at that company to get your foot in the door, and eventually move around or move up in the company so that you get to the position that you want. So those are all of my tips on how to land a corporate job in your 20s. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. With that being said, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.